Manus flat on the canvas. We are ready to rock and roll. Second round of action. There is a cut on Manus.
Jesus.
Martial arts. Yeah.
Like my man B-Hop, who got dropped out the ring last night. I need a little judo baby. I need me a little judo baby, and let's do it, Rhonda. Let's hit me up.
I see you were filming this. You've got a face for radio.
That's got a face for radio.
That's nice.
Martial arts chat.
Well, welcome to another episode of the Martial Arts Chat podcast, and before I introduce today's guest, first a quick shout out to our sponsors. A1 Fight Gear. A1 Fight Gear use the latest cutting edge boxing gloves for professional and amateur fighters, gym enthusiasts and kickboxers. So local and national gyms in the UK, do yourselves a favour and check out a1fightgear.com. And if you want to get into shape, get back into shape, go to beastgear.co.uk and use the coupon code MartialArtsChat. If you do that, you can save 15% off your purchases for core sliders, straps, barbell pads, complete strength and conditioning programs to suit your needs at all levels. So beast your goals with beastgear.co.uk. And finally, we're also sponsored by the MMAtakeover.com. For the real MMA rankings, go to MMAtakeover.com or visit them on Facebook or on Twitter. And so to our guest here today, the creator and owner of Beast Gear, Mr. Ben Leonard. Ben, how you doing, mate?
Good, thanks. Very well. How are you?
I'm alright. Will we get into the Brexit chat just now, or will we leave that for later on?
Yeah, we'll probably avoid that. I don't want too many listeners to throw their computers or phones out of the window.
It's such a polarising topic, man. It's just like, oh God. Anytime you go online, it's just like, say the Brexit, people are loving you or hating you. Trump, people are loving you or hating you. Or John Jones, people are usually hating him. But anyway.
Yeah, some people might be wondering why we're talking about this. We have a bit of Brexit chat on Facebook sometimes.
Who doesn't, man?
Yeah.
So many experts out there, right, on social media. Anyway, we'll get all to that later on, I'm sure.
Sure.
It'll come up, no doubt. But my pleasure, man. Absolutely.
Cheers.
Pleasure
to
have
good
you
to be on the show. I've been listening, obviously, for a while, and Beast Gear's been a sponsor, so yeah, good fun to be having a chat on the podcast.
Baby on the way as well, right? You've got, is it next month?
Yeah, that's right. The baby's due March 30th, so if it's born on March 29th, we're going to call the baby first name Brexit, middle name Backstop.
Super, man. Brilliant. So how's the missus doing? She all right? Another month to go. That's crunch time, isn't it?
Good. Yeah, she's good. She's tired, but good. You know what? She can't complain, really. She's, compared to how some people have it, she's done all right. 6 weeks to go, so she's getting pretty tired. And I think she's just ready to serve the eviction notice.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, no, it's all good. It's all very exciting, and we don't want it to come early. It's funny, there was a couple in our antenatal classes who were due the same date as us, and their baby came early, like 2 weeks ago, maybe even 3 weeks ago.
Oh wow!
So I mean, the baby's fine. It ended up in the neonatal unit, but it just goes to show if the baby wants to come now, it will.
Yeah, you've no choice in the matter. That's it, exactly, man.
Yeah. So. But it's all very exciting. This is our first, so really looking forward to it. Life will never be the same again, but yeah, we're really excited about it.
Oh, congratulations, man! So let's get a wee bit of like martial arts. Obviously, Martial Arts Chats, the podcast. Were you into martial arts and things like that growing up then?
So I'm more of a boxing fan than any other, mixed martial arts or anything like that. So I actually was not sporty or interested in fitness at all until my early 20s. Wow. So when I was at school, I was the asthmatic kid that was last to be picked. I think one of the main things that really put me off was obviously, so I had asthma, and one of my triggers for asthma is exercise, which is a bad start, and cold air, really cold air. And they made us at PE, they made us do cross country running in winter.
And this is in Aberdeen as well, right?
Yeah.
God.
And I would say to them, why are we doing this? I've just had an asthma attack. And they would say, oh, yeah, but in spring and summer, there's lots of pollen. So the people who've got hay fever can't do it. And I was like, oh, come on, hay fever, you sneeze and you cry a wee bit. I've ended up on an oxygen machine down the local doctor's surgery. But so that kind of put me off. And then I got into fitness at uni. Everyone, well, not everyone, but when you there comes an age where you're like, man, I need to put on some muscle. And so I did the usual thing. I went to the gym, I lifted lots of weights, and I was like, I want to get massive.
Yeah, you were asking girls which way's the beach and all that kind of stuff.
All that stuff, yeah, which was pretty silly. And then, a friend of mine got me into boxing. I'd always kind of watched a little bit of boxing, but then we started religiously watching everything that was on. It didn't matter whether it was one of these, kind of journeyman pro fights that was on some random channel on Sky. We loved it. And then I started going to the University Boxing Club, got into it that way. And I've just loved it ever since. I stopped after uni, but then about a year and a half ago, I actually rejoined my old uni club. Nice. And then from there, I got back in touch with a friend of mine who, she was the club captain of the uni club when I was there, and now she is actually bantamweight Commonwealth champion of the Commonwealth, Kristen Fraser.
Wow.
So she said, look, come along to the club. So I've actually been training at Granite City Boxing in Aberdeen since about March last year.
That's amazing, man, and you're still training. That's superb. How does the asthma affect things now? Is it
it's not. I mean, it's well controlled. So I take 2 inhalers for it. I take a steroid inhaler, and then it's a brown inhaler. A lot of people might have seen them going about. And then I have another one, which is the one that I take just before I train. And then if I if I was wheezy while training, I would take that. But that's basically never happens anymore. When I was younger, I was taking 3 types of inhaler and steroid tablets.
Jeez.
I'm always kind of intrigued to know, I took those as a child. How would happen if I took all the steroid tablets now and then hit the gym? Would I get massive?
yeah, I don't know about that, but yeah.
Maybe I need to go down to the doctors and tell them, oh yeah, it's really bad.
Lay on thick, yeah. Exactly, man. Yeah, my older sister's asthmatic, and she had those growing up. There was a blue one and a brown one, if I remember right. Yeah, the brown one's the steroid one. I guess the idea is it's to like expand your lungs or something, help the growth of your lung capacity, something like that. It's
not quite as exciting as that. It just stops your windpipe. I guess it's called your bronchus, I think. It stops that from closing off. So asthma is when that gets really narrow. So if you imagine you had you were breathing through a hose pipe, and then it gets narrower and narrower until it's just like a straw. That's asthma, basically.
Man. That's a
so what the inhalers do is they actually stop it from closing up. So they just make sure it stays what it's meant to be, like a hose pipe.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, and they're really effective. I guess they're one of the world's most effective medicines because drug companies make zillions out of them.
Oh yeah.
But I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist.
Go on.
I think that there's a lot of medical conditions that actually drug companies have found out cures for, but they don't make them available because they make more money out of keeping you all right, but not cured. So an inhaler doesn't cure you; it just keeps you okay. Imagine if you make a lot of money out of that. If you cure somebody, well, they're not going to come back
exactly
because they're cured.
Yeah, it's supply and demand in it. I mean, they've got an agenda because it's a business. So, like you said, man, you want to keep them coming back. You don't want them never to return. And despite the fact it is medicinal, I mean, that's meant to be the idea that it would cure you or something. It's like giving you a little tidbit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just to keep encouraging you to buy their product, I guess. That's sad, isn't it? That's a sad reality of the kind of world.
I mean,
I guess.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I have often thought about that. Maybe somebody does have a cure for this.
I'll tell you the biggest conspiracy theory about asthma. So my sister, who I mentioned there, God, she'll hate me for this. When she did, she used to smoke as well, and I know a terrible idea for an asthmatic. And when she did smoke, she used to smoke menthol cigarettes because it was good for asthmatics. That was her idea. Why are you smoking cigarettes? Well, they're menthol, so I'm smoking them because I'm asthmatic. Yeah, how about not smoke? How about that? That was her theory. I don't know. I wasn't going with that. I wasn't buying it for it that way, mate.
She's still got asthma.
She's still got asthma, yeah.
Yeah, it didn't work.
Didn't work, exactly. There you go, enough said. So tell us a wee bit about Aberdeen then. Were you a Dons fan growing up and that kind of thing? Do you like football?
Yeah, so I was actually, unfortunately, I was born in Essex.
Unfortunately.
Okay. I always say, oh yeah, but it was Colchester. It's not that bad. Yeah. So my folks, they came up to Aberdeen for the oil industry, like half the population of Aberdeen.
Yeah.
So my mum's from Dorset, my dad's from Norfolk, so they're both country bumpkins. And then in the 80s they came up here, had my brother, went back down, had me, came back up. So I've been up here since I was 1. I'm 30 now. So yeah, I grew up in a wee town 20 miles north of Aberdeen. And yeah, I am a Dons fan, massive Dons fan actually. Go to as many games as I can. Used to have a season ticket, don't anymore, but still get to probably 12 or 13 matches a season. And then some away games and obviously cup finals and semi-finals, which have actually been a pretty frequent thing in the last 4 or 5 years.
Oh, they've been doing amazing, man. I mean, I'm a Celtic fan, but like, probably sick of the city of Celtic, but like that was my team growing up. But I mean, Aberdeen have just they've been right there with us.
Yeah, it's been great fun. I mean, we were in the League Cup final in December. We lost that 1-0 against Celtic, and it was funny. I actually left that match feeling pretty good because we played really well, and I'd gone in setting myself up for a 4-0 loss just to kind of make myself feel a bit less crap if we lost.
Yeah.
But we're getting used to just going to Hampden now and losing.
Right, always a close game though. You know, I mean, I'm not just saying that because you're on, man. Like Aberdeen. Do you know what? I've actually got a soft spot for Aberdeen. I really like Aberdeen because whenever the fans at like a game at Celtic Park, the Aberdeen fans would sing "We hate Rangers more than you." Like I always brought a smile to my face. It's like, these guys actually hate Rangers.
Probably do. It's funny you mentioned soft spots. I have a soft spot for Cali Thistle. And I think a lot of Aberdeen fans have a soft spot for Cali Thistle. And Cali Thistle fans hate it because they want us to hate them because they hate us. But we don't hate them. We kind of have this patronising soft spot. Right. It's like, go on, Cali. And they hate that. It's funny.
It's the ground share, I think, back in the day, right? Aberdeen and
Cali Thistle that was the stadium. About 10 years ago. Aye. That was a novelty, watching Aberdeen at home but away. It was weird.
Yeah, what a weird thing, right? And I just saw you've got Rangers again in the cup. Is that right? In the draw?
Yeah, if they beat Killie in the replay. Hang on, have they already done that? Was that last night?
Oh no, you're right. No, sorry, there is a replay still to come. Look at me, looking ahead. I'm just assuming they're going to beat.
Come on, Killie.
There you go. Exactly. Well, I mean, come on, Killie. But if you get them again, it'll be another red card for your boy Morelos, will it not? He's always getting sent off.
Well, we're perfectly capable of beating them. I mean, we've beaten them we've played them 4 times and we've lost once since Steven Gerrard took over. We beat them in the semi-final, I think, of the League Cup. So, yeah. Not too worried.
I'd be confident for sure. I was just stalking your social media, mate. It looks like, are you quite a wee sort of globetrotter, Ben? I see some pictures in Sri Lanka and I think there's one in Thailand as well. Do you get around the
Yeah, we love travelling. So, no, we haven't been to Thailand. Where have we been? Sri Lanka, India, Costa Rica.
Wow.
Bali, other parts of Indonesia. We're hopefully going to Vietnam with the baby in September, October. Wow. We were supposed to go last year, but we found out they've got Zika virus. So obviously with Katie being pregnant, we had to cancel. So we booked a last-minute road trip around Montenegro and Bosnia.
Zika virus, what's that?
Oh, Zika virus. We thought it was just in South America. Google it. It's this horrible virus that gets spread by mosquitoes.
Right.
And for everybody else, it's fine. But if you're pregnant, it can cause like really, really bad deformalities in babies. Oh. So if you're pregnant, don't go to a country with Zika. And we were all set to go, and somebody at a party just happened to mention to us, they've got Zika in Vietnam, right? And we were like, oh, shit. So, yeah, we had to cancel that, and we went to Bosnia instead, which was amazing.
Would you just pick places on the map and think, I want to go there as like a kind of bucket list of places?
Yeah, kind of. Try to avoid British people. I'm tourist, but British.
There's nothing worse than meeting another British person.
Worse than British tourist. I mean, don't get me wrong. We like to go on, those holidays where you just sit on your arse.
Yes.
There's a time and a place for that. We just did that. We just went to Tenerife last month.
Yeah.
An all-inclusive sit on your arse job. Katie's pregnant. Life's been busy. We've just moved house. We just wanted to have some time out. But if we can, we try to get away. do something off the beaten track a bit. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. You were speaking about boxing growing up. Who were some of the fighters you kind of watch?
Ricky Hatton, number one.
Yeah, Hitman. Yeah,
love the guy. I started watching him. I think the first fight of his I saw was against. Was it Thaxton? Is that his name? John Hatton. Let me just Google this.
The first one I saw him was it the boy from New Zealand? Oh, Thaxton, right? Okay, I was going to say Costa Zoo. I'm sure I remember that was the first one I saw with Hatton.
Oh yeah, well that was nuts when Costa Zoo quit on his stool. John Thaxton. That was in 2000. Google just told me that.
Right.
Yeah. I loved Ricky Hatton. He was a warrior. He didn't fulfill his potential, and that's his own fault for treating in his own body so poorly between fights.
Oh, in between fights, he was massive, wasn't he? He was just like just reckless with his diet and his training.
Yeah, huge. He just got so fat, and it's a real shame because he only ever lost. He lost 3 fights, didn't he? Mayweather, Pacquiao, and then his failed comeback against.
That was hard to watch.
I can't remember his name.
I can't remember either.
It was like watching your mate get beaten up.
Yeah.
And you just think to yourself, why did you do that? You didn't need to. You had nothing to prove. You lost to the two of the greatest fighters of all time.
No shame.
And he did a cracking job against Mayweather as well.
Mm-hmm.
You rocked him in, was it the second round?
Early doors, yeah. Was it his second round? I remember early in the fight, yeah.
And the Pacquiao fight, that was never going to go well. His training had been a shambles. He was training with Mayweather Sr. and I remember there was a documentary following the two fighters in the run-up to it, and you could just see it was an absolute shambles. I remember staying up all night to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, it was over in the blink of an eye, and I was like, oh well, go to bed then.
yeah, those ones are so disappointing because like you're staying up to the wee hours. UFC can be a bit like that as well. Like Ronda Rousey comes to mind, and you're just like all this hype, all this fighting out the blue corner, sponsored by blah 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 blah, and then 9 seconds and it's over, and you're just like, for fuck's sake, give me something, give me something from a. Yeah. I was going to say from a Bucks, but I was usually pirating that at the time, just in case anyone's listening.
Oh yeah, everyone loves a dodgy stream.
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
Yeah.
What about, so was Ricky Hatton, British boxers, like, I'm trying to think, Joe Calzaghe, were you a fan of these kind of guys?
Calzaghe, Calzaghe, Hatton, what's his name? Carl Froch, Carl the Cobra, loved him. In fact, that's just reminded me. Obviously, George Groves is just retired, quite young as well.
Oh, yeah.
But the 2 fights that Froch had against Groves were absolute crackers. Awesome. I don't think Groves really needed to retire. I mean, I suppose he had nothing else to prove. Really, he's had a great career, but I think he's only 30. But there you are. Yeah, no, Carl Froch was another one of my favourites. Yeah.
Did you watch this Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder then? You must have watched that last
I did. I watched it and I liked it. I've never been a massive Tyson Fury fan, really.
Same, I was never until that fight.
I don't like some of the stuff he says, but if we're just going to talk about as a sportsman, his boxing, I remember watching him years and years ago. There's that infamous clip going around of him punching himself in the face.
The uppercut,
yeah. Which is quite funny. But I mean, in fairness, you can see kind of how it happened. But that fight against Wilder was a cracker, and he's really transformed as a boxer over the years. I mean, it's a cliche. You know that cliche you get in football. He's got a great touch for the big guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyson Fury, he's got cracking footwork and great movement for a big guy.
Fakes and feints a lot, and that, particularly in that fight as well, man. Yeah, and I think it had to be against that. He's just a wild, powerful guy, and Deontay Wilder. So like, he had the right game plan. How did you score the fight? It was pretty ridiculous. I know he got knocked down, whatever, but I still think he won the fight.
I think he won it. I think he won it. I've spoken to a few people, my coach included, who actually did agree that it should have been a draw or Wilder because, 2 knockdowns, 2 rounds. Well, that's 10-8 to the other guy. It's 10-8 Wilder on those rounds. So you can kind of see how it ended up being a draw or even could have been edged to Wilder. But I just felt that across the whole fight, he outperformed him. Fury outperformed Wilder.
Yeah, same, man. Absolutely.
But I've never been a huge fan of the heavyweight division. I think that's because, I've grown up during that Klitschko era where it's been...
Oh, awful. Boring. Clinch.
Yeah,
just
really dull.
Yeah.
You can't really blame them. They're just beating what's in front of them and they're winning and they found a way to win, and that's fine. But as a spectator sport, that's dull.
Yeah.
And then I suppose, just during that time, obviously, Hay made the step up to heavyweight. And I can see why he did it when he fought Nikolai Valuev.
What a fight that was. Aye.
That massive guy.
Giant of a man.
He knew that he would win, and he knew how to win, and it meant he got to make his name in the heavyweight division a wee bit. But I don't think he should have pushed on, really. He had nothing to prove either. He'd done everything at the lower weights.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not a heavyweight.
He was not a heavyweight, exactly. But see, when he was sparking guys like Macronelli and that was the haymaker. He was the man. Yeah. And when he moved up to heavyweight, you're right, it was more for profile than I can, maybe except for Valiev, because Valiev was just a freak. He didn't really have anywhere near the skills of any of the other heavyweights at the time. But yeah, man, it was just to get probably a payday, if I'm honest with you, man. I think it was more a payday.
And I can't blame him. If somebody said to me, do you want that kind of money? Then, well... Yeah, actually.
What was it? Broke his baby toe or something? That was the thing that came out after the fight. Do you remember that?
Against Klitschko. Yeah. He said that he'd broken his big toe, which had affected his training. It was too late to pull out, and he also couldn't put his weight through his foot properly, and therefore couldn't throw his right hand, I think, properly, is what he was saying, especially his haymaker. That's what he was saying, yeah. And then you had his first fight against Bellew, where to be fair, that was a bit gutting because he snapped his Achilles.
Oh, that's right. God, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, nasty. That's never going to end.
He hasn't had the best of luck with injuries, but I think that goes to show that by that point in his career, it was already the tail end of his career, and it was time to just stop.
That's it, man. The body tells you no, for sure. Were you a wee bit later to... Because I remember growing up, I'm 35, so like my dad would keep me up late. We would watch Eurosport, and you would get to watch the fights in the weekend, like highlights of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank and Steve Collins and guys like that. Did you?
I was a bit late. I was a bit late to the party for that. Yeah.
Amazing though, man. We're just blessed with talent. Nassim Ahmed would have been, I think, around about that time.
Oh yeah, I mean, he was... Nassim Ahmed was on the scene before I was really into boxing that much, but he's somebody that subsequently I've gone back and watched fights. And,
what a fighter, man! Amazing.
And he was a fighter, hell of a character as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's kind of he's let himself go a bit, obviously. But yeah, he's somebody whose fights I've watched back and really, really enjoyed.
One with Kevin Kelly's the one that sticks out in my head. Oh, there's so many. Who was the Welsh boy beat? Was it Robinson for the title?
Yeah.
Take your pick. Do you know what I mean? Like that guy.
Yeah.
But you're right. He's lived his gimmick a wee bit too much, I think. And it seems like he's been his downfall. Is he in jail or something? I want to say he was doing.
Hold on,
some community service or something. Is it worth a Google for those listening? We'll just go. I'm sure he was. Maybe it was a drink driving. He was a naughty boy at some point. I'm sure, and ballooned up in weight like you wouldn't believe. I mean, talk about Ricky Hatton, Nassim Ahmed.
Oh yeah,
bloody
huge.
Hell. Massive man.
I'm not sure what's happened to him now. Couldn't tell you, to be honest.
Some fighter though. What a legend, man.
Yeah, it says here Hamed was the second richest British boxer after Lennox Lewis.
Okay.
So he made a lot of money.
Did well then, I guess. Yeah, because he had the Tyson fights and all that, so Lewis probably would have been the richest. What about Amir Khan then? He's got a glass chin or what?
Not a fan.
No.
For starters, right, his career was always going to be tainted by the fact that he lost to Willie Limond. If you go back and watch the fight against Willie Limond beat him, but the count that Khan gets is not correct. And I don't think you can see it on TV, but there's rumours, again, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but there's rumours that the referee kind of glanced over at the promoter, and the promoter shook his head and kept counting, or he slowed down his counting. So that always stayed a bit for me. And then I don't think Khan ever really got over, the loss to was it Bradis Prescott?
Oh, I can't remember. The one that just keeps sticking out is the Saul Alvarez. He's been knocked out a couple of times before that, but that was brutality. like that.
Yeah.
His head bounced off the canvas and he was snoring with his eyes open. Oh God.
Yeah, it was. It was Khan versus. It was Bradis Prescott knocked Amir Khan out, and it was pretty.
Was it bad? Was it? I can't remember that.
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Yeah, I don't know. It's hype that's never lived up. But I mean, is it justified hype? I don't know.
Maybe. The thing is, he doesn't. Khan's fast.
Fast hands. Yeah.
But I don't think he ever really had much of a defense.
No chance for sure.
Who's he fighting? He's fighting next week, is he not?
Oh, I don't know. I thought he called it a day. That's the last I heard. So he's fighting next week.
Yeah. No, not next week. I'm getting ahead of myself. He is not fighting next week. That's absolutely nonsense. It's James DeGale and Chris Eubank Jr. are fighting next week.
That's right. I did see that.
Amir Khan is fighting Terence Crawford in April.
Terence Crawford. No, so it's not that far away then. 2 and a bit months.
Yeah, and that's for the welterweight title. That's for the WBO welterweight title. And I don't know why Khan really gets a shot at that.
How many? See, the thing is, though, I can't keep up with all the titles. Like, how many legit titles are there in a weight division in boxing? 4, maybe.
4 big ones. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that? Do you think it's too many?
Yeah. I think I don't think anybody can deny that it's too many, but it's not going to change. And then you've got the Mickey Mouse titles as well. Somebody makes one up.
Aye, I know.
And then they win it, and then they say that they're the champion of the world, which is. I
mean, I guess it's for marketing purposes, I suppose. But if everybody's a champion, then who's the champion? You know what I mean?
Well, that's where you get obviously a unified champion,
sure,
undisputed, which of course never happened for years in the heavyweight division because the Klitschko's refused to fight each other.
Have you seen this clip? Sorry, I think I've got ADD. Sometimes things pop into my head. Who's your man? I think he's like an internet troll or something, but he turns up to gyms and basically just like, I think he's Russian or something. What's his name? Charlie? I'm trying to remember. And like he'll like video like turning up to people's gyms, let's spar, and then just like proceeds to beat the piss out of them, and then puts it on the internet. Oh God, what's this guy's name? I put a video of him the other day. It's quite a viral video, Charlie. It's like Zelenoff or something like that. People listening to this are screaming at me just now.
Charlie Zelenoff.
That's the boy, yeah. What's that all about?
I'm not going to lie. I haven't seen it.
Oh, I'm sending you this right now. Right, that's your homework until next time.
How have I missed this? I'm clearly not looking at the right things on Facebook. My Facebook is fully full of Brexit.
Full of Brexit, that's it. And we're back to Brexit. There you go. Well, we'll send Charlie Zelenoff round to Theresa May in the negotiation table. And then
we'll get Jacob Rees-Mogg and Charlie Zelenoff in a ring, and that'll be everyone's entertainment.
People tune into that. Maybe not. Do people tune into the Ricky Gervais boxing match back in the day? Who was that boy he was fighting? I can't remember.
I don't know about Ricky Gervais. I remember Andrew Flintoff had a fight.
That's right, Flintoff. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh, the Ricky Gervais one was it was Anthea Turner's husband, I'm sure. I'm going way off a tangent now, but
that's such a British thing.
I know,
like Z-list celebrities, like Anthea Turner's husband.
This was brilliant. Like, I know that. I think that's how he was billed as well. They didn't announce.
Do you have any listeners that aren't in the UK?
Yeah, loads, man. Most of our listeners.
All of them.
Yeah. It's funny because majority of our listeners are in the States, and we put a video out of one of the fighter interviews with Chris Bungard. Shout out to Bungie, Scottish Hit Squad, and he had some choice words to say of Aaron Chalmers, who was fighting on the Bellator card. Aaron Chalmers, for those that don't know, is Geordie Shore guy, and let's just say he's got a thick Glaswegian accent. I'll say that. And this episode, this podcast, was the most we ever got. We got 30,000 plays for the show, and I'm thinking, but how? Because like if you're Scottish, you can understand them, I guess, but outside Scotland, there's no way. Like without subtitles, there's no way no one's going to know. You know what I mean? Like what he's saying, and it's not like I'm putting subtitles on the video. And it was the most viral thing we'd ever put out. It was hilarious, man.
That's quality.
And that
your American listeners are going to love that Scottish football chat we had earlier.
Yeah, big Aberdeen fans out in the States for sure. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah. Let's talk a wee bit MMA then, because obviously we've got a big one coming up.
Absolutely.
Just in a week. Yeah. Johnny Bones Jones returns. What's your thoughts, man? How do you think it's going to go
down? I don't know. People don't like Jones.
A lot of people have got some hate on me. justified, I guess. He fails a drug test every other Wednesday, right? And somehow gets away.
Yeah, I was looking at his track record for that earlier. He's got an entire I love this on his Wikipedia page. He's got an entire section dedicated to controversies.
Yeah, that's when you know.
His drug tests bit is long. I mean, obviously everybody knows he's had his drug test issues, but I didn't realize that it actually went back quite so far, and that he clearly hasn't learned his lesson. Clearly the sport and the UFC have got an issue which they're not addressing.
Yeah.
You know, if you look at Olympic sports, a ban, if it doesn't end your career, it very nearly will, because they come down on you like a ton of bricks to prevent it happening and to really set out a precedent and a deterrent. But evidently that's not happening properly with MMA and UFC in particular. And possibly a reason for that is you haven't just got the UFC as kind of the governing body. You know, you've got everybody. You've got Bellator, you've got ONE, you've got UFC.
Yeah.
So you can't, somebody might get banned from one thing but not banned by another.
It seems to be, since this transition from Zuffa to whatever this new company is for the UFC, they're doing their best to not to implement rules. I'll say that, like, they're doing their best to bend it if you're a big star. If you draw them money, because they're a businessman. If you make them money, then they'll not make drug test results go away. They'll hide the negatives and embellish the positives. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think Jones will win.
Same.
But that doesn't mean I want him to.
Yep, I think that's the word on the street, man. Everybody's got a feeling that Johnny Bones Jones has get it, but I think a lot of people, particularly recently, want him to get his comeuppance. They want some kind of justice, and if it's not going to happen and where it should be happening, which is some kind of penalty for how he's behaving, then a reward can be a beating in the cage. But yeah, I agree with you, man. I can't see Smith. I think Smith is just here to fill in a blank until they do that DC fight again for the third time.
If he does win, if Smith does win, he will gain a lot of fans.
Oh yeah,
because people will see him as a hero for delivering that justice.
True, yeah, very true, man. And he's a guy. There's a lot of them doing this now. We talk about weight cutting quite a lot on the show, and Smith. Yeah, no. There's a couple I'm trying to think come to mind. Thiago Santos is another one. Middleweights that are basically not cutting anymore, and they're going up to light heavyweight, and just not killing themselves making the weight, and we're seeing so many of them excel. Like, they've got better moving up in the division. Luke Rockhold is one that we champion for, and probably Chris Weidman as well. Like, enough with these ridiculous cuts.
It's not a surprise. I mean, are you going to perform better when you haven't gone through such a ridiculous cutting, phase?
Exactly.
Of course you are.
Exactly.
Your body is in much better condition.
Yeah. And you run so many health risks as well, not just in fighting, just like your general health. If you're so depleted like that, there's risk of concussion and God knows whatever else. It's bad news, man. It's bad news for the sport. How is it in boxing? It's pretty, because the weight divisions are pretty, there's only like 5 pounds a division or something in there. There's quite a lot, so I imagine it's...
Yeah, in boxing, there's no doubt that people still go through, a difficult time sometimes to make the weight, especially if your name's Ricky Hatton. But... what you can do, I don't know quite if it works like this in MMA, but in boxing, what you can do is, so suppose you were a bantamweight, you could fight you could fight, provided you have enough fights at bantamweight, you can still get points in the ranking systems fighting at, say, super bantamweight that will contribute to your bantamweight ranking. So not every fight you don't have to go through that cutting phase every time. So you could have a title fight at, say, bantam, and then fight a fight at super bantam, and you that would still contribute to your ranking points.
Right. Oh, that's a good idea. I think that's probably better. Better for
and I think from a health point of view and a longevity point of view of a boxer's career, then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. That's something that I would like to see implemented in MMA, particularly in the UFC, because that's where the exposure is, and that's where everyone sort of has the benchmark of. We've not even mentioned Beast Gear, and I know we might be short on time, so let's talk a wee bit about how you got this started,
sure,
mate,
totally.
and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, so Beast Gear, independent brand of fitness kit for everyone from boxers and fighters for strength and conditioning side of things, right the way through to people who lift seriously heavy weights, power lifters, strongmen, and also people who are just generally into fitness, CrossFit, things like that as well. We started out with a small range and have gradually expanded that, and the boxing and to some extent other combat sports range in particular is expanding a lot now. So we are just launching our first set of gloves.
Nice.
Boxing gloves. They will be out in the next week or two, which I'm really excited about. So I started Beast Gear 3.5 years ago. Basically, it was a bit of a hobby, bit of fun to see what would happen, and it's just grown arms and legs and gone from there. Really, I started it at a time when I had a heart condition. So I had a condition called pericarditis, which basically means everybody's heart sits in a little bag, and anything that's called an itis means inflammation.
Yes.
And so that bag that your heart sits in is called the pericardium. So pericarditis is inflammation of that bag.
Right.
And I got that. And it's reasonably common in guys in their 20s, but it's extremely painful. And I got it 3 times. And the third time I had to take all the drugs, and not the good kind. So I wasn't allowed to do any training or exercise for 6 or 9 months. So I put my energy into Beast Gear. It's something that I could do as a bit of a hobby when I wasn't doing anything else, and I could still stay in touch with the things I enjoyed.
Yeah.
So I really like boxing, and obviously in boxing we do a lot of skipping in our training. And I used to do something called CrossFit, and we do a lot of skipping there. So the first product was a speed skipping rope, kind of tailoring both of those aspects of training. It was called the Beast Rope, and it's just grown from there. We've now got the Beast Rope Pro coming out in a couple of weeks. We've got the Beast Rope Elite, and then we've got conditioning and strength kit for all sorts of different things, whether it's lifting straps and wrist straps or weightlifting belts. And then there's the boxing kit, so boxing hand wraps, gum shields, gloves are just coming. What I would say is that I take a very long time to bring any products out. So the gloves have been in progress for 13 months. It's very easy to develop and sell rubbish gear, and you can do it very quickly. So I take my time. So in development at the moment are more combat sport training accessories, so pads, punch sticks, all that kind of thing, and I'm just taking my time to get them all absolutely spot on, the materials, the designs, all that type of thing.
That's amazing, man. You sound like a perfectionist, mate, and it shows in your products, and what a good thing you've got going here. I'm delighted to share this journey with you, man. It's great having you on as a sponsor. I think we've been doing this thing now for the last 18 months now, my friend, and you sort us out with prizes for little competitions, and we always enjoy the feedback. Guys are delighted with your stuff. You do a great thing, Ben.
Thanks very much. Yeah, no, that really means a lot. It's just started as a hobby, and I started it off while I still had a full-time job, and I actually only quit that job 2.5 months ago to take this full-time. So any US listeners, I'm afraid we're not over there yet, but we will be. But if you're in the UK, we're on beastgear.co.uk, and across the rest of Europe, Germany, France, Italy, Spain, you can get us on Amazon as well.
That's awesome, man. Just before we wrap up, is there anything else you want to plug, mate, or acknowledge on the podcast?
Well, you've got the code for your listeners to get a discount, so Martial Arts Chat. I would encourage everyone to give us a follow on Instagram or Facebook. It's Beast Gear UK, and keep an eye out for the gloves, which are coming in the next week or two. If you keep an eye out on there, then you should get access to some pretty awesome deals on those.
Awesome stuff, Ben. Massive thank you again for coming on, mate. And guys, go check out beastgear.co.uk. I'm John Boy McElroy, and I'll catch you next time on the Martial Arts Chat podcast.